Forny WEIR is a beautiful day ticket lake in the heart of the Colne Valley and contains some mega carp. It's a gravel pit, super old, with loads of features. Gravel bars, very weedy, gin clear. Like I say, loads of mega roll carp. Really busy. It's somewhere that I've fished years and years ago before I could drive. I had a few just odd sessions down here and always sort of kept in tune with the Facebook pages and stuff like that, where you see the pictures of these beautiful carp, and I always wanted to really come back and have another go. When it comes to the methods and the tactics on Forny WEIR, like most day tickets, you get all kinds of anglers and all kinds of things go on and happen down here. There's all different ways and methods of baiting and approaching the day tickets. My friend Ryan, he's with me. He's just about to flick out a floater rod. It's pretty warm and there's loads of carp about. And it's sort of very different to some of the other day tickets I have fished. It's pretty spotty, a lot of wrapping up rods and stuff like that, being pretty accurate. And it was something that I knew that when I was to approach it, I'd have to do something a little bit different. Whether that be sort of angling wise or baiting approach, I knew that was going to have to be just something a little bit out of the ordinary to get a few extra bites. There's bait boats allowed on here, so you have a lot of anglers using those, and yeah, it's just a mixed bag of approaches on here, and I knew that I was going to have to do something a little bit special to get some special carp out of here. My first few sessions of the year, they come after pretty much catching my target fish from Walthamstow. So there's a little bit of pressure off myself and a bit of relief, and I just wanted to get out and enjoy my fishing. This was the perfect place, you know, lots of beautiful carp, carp that I just love fishing for, and a nice comfortable fishing, a nice safe day ticket, somewhere I could do nights. And I think the first few sessions, I brought my son along with me, night fishing the first few nights he had done, and managed to catch from the off. I was using a lot of naturals, brought naturals with me, something a little bit different. Probably upper 20s, and yeah, certainly made me happy after losing one. Just a little Billingsgate wafter over a little bit of maggot. After a couple of sessions, I had worked out that the baiting approach that I was using with the natural approach was really working, even with it being busy and not lots of fish coming out, not fishing his head off, so to speak. Just under 30 pound. Little Billingsgate wafter and a bag of maggot.
Morning, Zuzu. Is the grizzly bear still hibernating? Yeah.
And I managed to catch one of the real special ones after a few sessions in. Just a prime example of what some of these Forny WEIR carp are like. A beautiful 37-pound mirror, really clean mouth, really special fish, and just a mega roll Colne Valley carp, scaly, long, just my type of carp that I like catching.
Just what the doctor ordered. I've been waiting for a big old mirror all year. And yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Chuffed to bits. He's quite heavy, so I'm gonna get him back. But I'm well made up. Beautiful autumn carp. And a right old Colne Valley cracker. Let's get him back.
And fast forward into 2024 and early spring now, I was eyeing up doing quite a long session on Forny WEIR and getting lots of bits and bobs ready. I'm not usually someone that packs all my food kit, loads of brew kit and cooking stuff. A lot of my sessions have been short sessions over the years. And believe it or not, my first session, sort of back end of March, I was planning to do 3-4 nights, one of the longest sessions that I'd ever done in the UK. With most of my fishing being short in and out sessions, a lot of looking and baiting and just dropping in for quick overnighters, it was certainly something a bit different, preparing for these longer sessions. I planned to fish the longer sessions because I'd often get down here and the swims would be occupied for long periods of time on this day ticket. I'll add that it's only £20 for 24 hours, which I'm pretty sure is one of the cheapest day tickets around. And with such a beautiful stock and stamp of fishing here, it's no wonder why it's so busy all the time. So I prepared myself. I had lots of fresh bait, quality bait. I got lots of powders and additives together, got my bait ready and planned to come down for a long stint. So in the spring when there's waking up, I could get amongst the fish and reap the rewards. During that first session, I arrived to find the lake sort of as normal, pretty busy, and I knew roughly what area I wanted to go in. The main body of water that commands a lot of area, and in the spring it's a really good area. For the first 24 hours I had to settle for not really a great swim. Knowing that I had 3-4 nights ahead of me, I sort of sat on my hands and waited for a swim to come free really. And luckily I didn't have to wait too long. The next morning a good swim was vacant and I got in there. Managed to get the rods out, fishing alongside an island, pretty hairy fishing, hook and hold stuff. And as I was getting my kit ready, one of the first rods was away. And it was sort of the start of what was maybe to come with such an early bite into my session. The swim that I dropped in, I know that I had done sort of sporadic bites over the past 4 to 5 nights prior to me dropping in there. So by catching a carp pretty much straight away was such a good sign. I knew that it was probably the start of more to come, and before I knew it, it wasn't long till the other rod was away, and really that's when I knew that it was something different and it was the bait that was working. Well, ghosties aren't really my cup of tea, but early spring and a nice double take. It's just nice to be out catching carp. He's a lovely shaped one, mid-20s. I think the big common in is similar to this, but mid-40s. He'd be nice. But yeah, lovely one. No complaints. When it comes to finding my spots and sort of feature finding the areas that I was happy fishing, I found a few areas that weren't the areas that most anglers would fish to. I avoided really hard, clean gravel, if I'm honest, and I was really happy fishing in silt, even some low-lying weed at times, adjusting my rigs to suit. Maybe if you avoided the obvious areas that the carp would be a little bit more confident in feeding, and especially some of the ones that don't come out too often, they're sort of clued up and know that there's bait and sort of danger always on them hard, obvious gravel spots. So in amongst sort of established areas and areas that people do fish to, I'd fish sort of just off the side and around them in the more sludgier, not so clean areas. And it seemed to be paying off, to be honest. And coupled with the naturals that I was using, you'd find more natural sort of bugs and grubs living in the silt and the weed, not so much in the gravel. So it all sort of made sense really, and it seemed to be coming together. When I'd found the area that I was comfortable with fishing and I had already had a couple of bites from, I honed all of my rods into that zone, using the wrap sticks and clipping them up. I dropped sort of staggered rods off of the side of this island, and fishing safely within a rod length or two off of the island. But at sort of 60 yards, it was more the fish kiting that was the issue. So you did have to give them quite a bit of beef to get them away from it. And yeah, it was working from the off really. With my baiting application, I was using the remote boat a lot of the time, but I was applying my bait just slightly different to most people. I was fishing for more a bite at a time and not really piling lots of bait in. And something that people might find strange is I was using big PVA bags in the boat. It was more so to get all the small food particles like my maggots and my casters, chopped worm, fine pellet, and all the powders and liquids down to the bottom. When you had big winds like there was on that session, if you was to be just letting it loose feed out of a boat or even spomming it just wouldn't be applied properly, and you wouldn't be fishing nice and effectively. It would end up everywhere. So the reasoning behind that was to get everything down to the bottom around my rig, and putting a few bags with my rig and a bag attached to it was sort of a way to get enough of bait down on the spot and get a bite, and make sure it was applied perfectly and accurately. This is the rig that I was using. A nice, simple and effective slip D rig. Nice and easy, and pretty quick to change, the main component being the hook. Especially when you're fishing day tickets and stuff like that, bites can come thick and fast, and instead of having to change your whole rig, you're only changing your hook. Using a sort of natural coloured bait, similar colour to the mix of natural food that I was using. A lot of people would probably steer towards using a bright coloured hook bait, something that would catch the carp's eye pretty quickly. But often on the pressured venues that I have fished in the past, the darker, more natural baits sometimes can be a little bit less dangerous for the carp, so to speak, and I don't associate them with danger as they do a lot of the bright hook baits of today. But yeah, long rig, using it pretty long because I was fishing in sort of silt and low-lying weed, making sure that it was nice and presented, and I wasn't getting plugged up in any of the stuff on the bottom. Barbless hooks also. It's a barbless hook raw on here, so yeah, nice sharp barbless hook, and yeah, nice strong hook link material, and a very reliable rig that caught me lots of nice carp out of here. After having them couple of quick bites, it was sort of the evening time now, 4 or 5 o'clock, and started to get dark. Strangely enough, there was people catching around the lake, but it seemed to have got pretty quiet during the evenings and the nighttime hours. So it was pretty cool, to be fair. It was getting bites in the morning and throughout the day, and you was getting a nice night's sleep and not being interrupted by beeps and fish in the night. Just a nice, comfortable sort of session, when just how you want it, really. The next morning I woke up to a bite, nice and quiet throughout the night, had a good sleep, and it was a pretty slow bite. I didn't really let the fish sort of take much line. I was fishing locked up, and managed to get the fish away from the island nice and easily, and didn't feel that big at first, but I sort of played the fish all the way in. Didn't give too much of a hard fight, just nice and slow. And before I knew it, in the tap clear water, I saw this huge long mirror sort of wallowing about and sort of plodding under the rod tip. And before I knew it was in the net, and when I peered into the net, it was obvious that it was one of the really old originals that lives here in Forny WEIR, and one that, yeah, was real special, a proper old dinosaur. as soon as I landed that big old mirror, I was on the phone to Jack to see where he was, and he was only round the corner, and not long after he arrived, he had just stepped into the swim when the other remaining rod was away. It was another hairy battle, and managed to steer the fish away from the island again. Felt like a really big, powerful fish from the off this one. It was pulling back and sort of kiting without, I wasn't able to do much. And I knew that it was definitely another good fish. When I was playing them in from this swim, they seem to come in really quickly under your feet, and it's really nice deep margins. And once you get them away from the additional sort of island and danger, they're then coming quite quick. And before I knew it, Jack was there with the camera, and my mate G was with me as well, and this huge big scaly mirror popped up at our feet, and they both sort of scrambled to grab the net at the same time. So briefly it was all a bit chaotic, and ended up G quickly netting the fish, and I was just amazed. There was two huge, really nice Colne Valley mirrors in the net, and I was just gobsmacked. I didn't expect to catch something as mega as the first one, let alone two. So. I thought I was going to have an alright session after a couple of bites, but I didn't expect to catch quite a big carp like this. The first big mirror that I landed was around sort of 36, 37 pound from memory, and a mega long carp. He was about 4 foot long, a broken linear, and certainly one of the old ones, and a real nice sort of fish to finish my session on. Let alone the other one, a big, beautiful, sort of heavily plated, fully scaled mirror, and around 34 pound from memory too. So a brace of real nice, good fish from a day ticket lake. Well, I never expected this. Two completely different big carp. Now, yeah, you just never know what you're going to catch over here. A nice, big, fully scaled. After them two mega mirrors, I did manage a few more bites, and ended the session really well, to be fair. I've got sort of my own plans to fish elsewhere over the summer, a few non-publicity venues and stuff, but with the carp being so beautiful in here and there being so many, I definitely will be popping back at some point when I get the spare time. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to catch some beautiful old Colne Valley carp, and I'm sure I'll be back for some more.